Okay, welcome everyone to additive manufacturing applications. I'm going to be talking about two different metal additive manufacturing applications. One is a high security key, and another one is a heat transfer device called a heat pipe, because heat transfer is cool. And my name is Michael Dexter. So the first application I'm going to talk about, the company is called Thermocore. They're a worldwide leader in thermal management, advanced thermal management solutions, heat pipes, and heat spreaders, isothermal furnace inserts, things like that. And I'll talk a little bit more about what a heat pipe is. They have a couple of locations. Their prime location is, or their main office is in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, PA, and they also have an office in England, and I think they have a couple other offices. They have 180 employees, and they're about $34 million. So they're used a lot in military, aerospace, computers, communication, energy conversion, medical, and transportation industries. They use them a lot in satellites, so to extract heat from the electronics and to move it to the radiator panels so that they can be removed. Because heat pipes don't use any mechanical components. So this is just a background on why heat pipes are so cool. It's basically an entirely passive refrigeration system all in one. So it has an evaporator that absorbs the heat, and then the working fluid, which is soaked in the porous wick material, evaporates out into the vapor channel, where it then flows downward towards the condenser by differential pressure, because as the condenser rejects the heat, that vapor is then absorbed. So there's a pressure differential along the pipe, and it's absorbed into the wick, and then because it's a wick structure, there's actually a capillary pressure, which then pumps the fluid back up to the top. So it's entirely passive, and you can actually look up, there's delta P's for wick structures for given parameters, basically. The other really cool thing is the temperature. They can work at cryogenic, negative 270 degrees C. That's where you use like liquid helium stuff as your working fluid, all the way up to furnace temperatures of 2000 C. You can actually use molten silver and molten lithium. So you're evaporating and condensing these different working fluids. So there's a variety of working fluids. They're also capable of incredibly high heat fluxes. This is generally at really high temperatures. They're capable of this. 126 kilowatts of transmission or heat transport per square centimeter of area. So ridiculously high. I think one really cool thing is they're used in isothermalizers, as they call them, in furnaces. So they take a furnace which might have a couple of Kelvin differential in the furnace, and it actually takes it and evens it out to millikelvin variation in the entire furnace. And that's even at like high centering temperatures. So they use them in semiconductor processing and things like that for really tight parameter controls. From what I was reading, and I don't know if this is true, it's really hard to make a centered porous aluminum because of some of its centering properties. It tends to wet and then agglomerate and make a solid structure rather than a porous structure. So that's one advantage that they have. Thermocore does not make an aluminum centered wick in any other way, but they will make copper wicks, which is what is kind of hard to see, but it's down on the far right. You can see the copper, traditional copper versus the aluminum structure, which is kind of the structured, the lattice structure wicks. So they up to the left. So they 3D printed these out of aluminum, both ALSI10MG and aluminum 6061. They used an SLM 100 machine, 200 watt laser power and 50 micron beam diameter, and they varied exposure times and other things like that. They did quite an extensive parametric study to find out what's stable. You can see a couple of build plates there where they were varying parameters to find out how do we get a porous, stable structure. And you can see some of those obviously failed. And then as you get towards the right, you can actually see an entire build plate where they pretty much made successful porous wick structures and figured out those build parameters with laser power, exposure, beam diameter, etc. On the bottom left over here, you see the heat transfer. So the selective laser melted heat pipes with axial grooves. And you can see the cool thing, it's a little bit small, but you can see that the SLM heat pipe, which is the ones that go up, are almost entirely independent of inclination angle, which on Earth is a big deal for heat pipes. Heat pipes don't like working against gravity because it's not super high pressure. So with these, they're actually almost gravity independent, which is really nice advantage of the SLM heat pipes. And then I also compared it to a traditionally manufactured axial groove heat pipe, and you can see there's only two orientations, the triangles and the diamonds, which are 0 degrees and 30 degrees, that actually perform well. All the others that are more vertical orientation, they actually don't have good heat transport at all. That's uncharged, so that means it doesn't have working fluid in it. So that's the heat transport just from the structure, not from the actual evaporation transportation. So that's just kind of a baseline of like, this is the minimum of heat transport, which is near 0, you can see. And most of the ones that are at high angles with the traditionally manufactured axial groove heat pipes have almost near 0 because they're just not pumping to the top. So there's a strong advantage to being able to that selective laser melting gives to this application that is not possible in any other ways. So they're used again in satellites to transfer heat from electronics to radiator panels. If you open up some computers, you'll see a heat sink with these copper pipes leading away from the CPU or graphics card to remote fans and heat sinks. Those are heat pipes. So those use either a wick structure or a centered structure. This is the second paragraph is actually a quote from the study. It says, assuming an acceptable delta T, which you need to drive the thermal gradient, the geometry of the tested heat pipe and power with an evaporator of 1.7 square centimeters, SLM heat pipes show an input flux of 7 watts per square meter or per square centimeter at negative 30 degrees against gravity, which is at least twice the reported value for the heat pipe flux of a real axial grooved heat pipe with ammonia at near horizontal orientation. So you get really good heat transport with these selective laser melted parts. And the other thing that, again, we've talked about a lot is geometric freedom. I mean, most of these you have to do it in a pipe, and then that pipe can only be bent or things like that, or it has to be a flat plate, so you're very geometry limited. Theoretically, you should be able to make these centered wick structures in a giant corkscrew that's embedded in this or that or the other thing. I mean, the geometric and design parameters open wide up with, and you're only limited pretty much by your build volume of your 3D printer. So it's very, very advantageous, and the alternatives are centered or axially grooved heat pipes. So